Be Me, 33, feminist journalist writing for major online publication. Based in Seattle, cover gender issues and relationship dynamics. Building career exposing toxic masculinity and male entitlement. Latest assignment. Investigate why marriage rates among men plummeting. Editor wants piece on male commitment crisis and Peter Pan syndrome. Assume men avoiding marriage because they're immature. Want endless bachelor lifestyle without responsibility. Classic refusal to grow up and be real partners. Plan to interview men and expose their childish reasoning. Will write definitive piece on male emotional immaturity. Start with unmarried professional men in their 30s and 40s. Tech workers, lawyers, doctors, successful, stable careers. Expected to find party animals avoiding responsibility. Instead, finding thoughtful men who've chosen permanent single life. This doesn't match my preconceptions at all. First interview with 36-year-old software architect making $160,000. Lives alone in nice apartment, seems well-adjusted. Ask why he's never married despite stable career. Marriage is modern slavery for men, he says immediately. Think he's being dramatic. Ask him to explain. He pulls out actual documentation. Statistics on divorce outcomes, custody arrangements, financial obligations. Look at the data objectively, he says. 70% of divorces initiated by women. Men lose custody 85% of the time. Average man pays child support and alimony for decades. Even if she cheats, even if she leaves, I still pay. Never looked at marriage through this economic lens. He continues, marriage means I work to fund someone else's choices. If she decides to leave, I lose half my assets minimum. Keep paying her monthly while she lives in house I bought. See my kids every other weekend if I'm lucky. What part of that isn't slavery? His logic is uncomfortable, but I can't immediately refute it. Ask if he's just had bad relationship experiences. Never been in serious relationship by choice. Watched my uncle destroyed by divorce. Watched my boss lose everything to ex-wife. Watched co-workers become shells of themselves. I learned from their mistakes without making them myself. He avoided marriage based on others' suffering. Second interview with 41-year-old physician, never married. Expected wealthy doctor to have different perspective. Instead, he shows me calculations of marriage costs. If I marry, I become financial slave to her choices. She can quit working anytime. I'm still obligated to maintain lifestyle. She can cheat. I still pay alimony. She can alienate my kids. Courts will support her. I keep my medical license, but lose control of my life. He explains his financial analysis. My income is $280,000 annually. In divorce, she gets half of marital assets. Plus alimony based on my income, not her choices. Plus child support regardless of custody arrangement. I'd be working primarily for someone who left me. Never considered marriage as economic servitude before. Ask about companionship and love. I date. I have relationships. I care about people. But I won't sign legal contract making me permanent provider. Love shouldn't require enslaving yourself financially. If relationship is good, we don't need government involved. If it's bad, I don't want government enforcing my servitude. His distinction between love and legal marriage challenges my view. Third interview with divorced man in his late 40s. This is the perspective I expected to validate men's fears. What he describes is worse than I imagined. Was married 15 years. Wife had affair with coworker. Despite her infidelity, he lost everything in divorce. No-fault divorce means her cheating was irrelevant. She got primary custody despite being the one who destroyed family. I pay $4,800 monthly in combined support and alimony. Works 70 hours a week. 65% of my income goes to her. She lives with a fair partner in house I'm still paying mortgage on. This man is literally funding his replacement's lifestyle. He shows me his financial statements. After taxes and payments to ex-wife, keeps $2,400 monthly. Lives in one-bedroom apartment, drives 10-year-old car. Works constantly to maintain payments. Sees kids 48 hours monthly, less than 7% of their time. This is slavery, he says flatly. I work primarily for someone who betrayed me. Can't quit, can't reduce hours, can't retire early. Enslaved to her for 8 more years minimum. Ask what would happen if he stopped paying. Jail for contempt of court. They'll garnish wages, seize assets, destroy credit. Men have been jailed for inability to pay. Even if I lose my job, obligation doesn't decrease. The state will enforce her claim to my labor. Government literally enforces this servitude with imprisonment. Fourth interview with 38-year-old business owner. Successful, built company from scratch worth several million. Refuses to marry despite long-term girlfriend pressuring him. Marriage would enslave me to decisions I can't control. She could quit working tomorrow. I'd still be obligated. She could cheat, leave, take half my company. Company I built before I met her becomes marital asset. He explains the business risk. I've worked 80-hour weeks for 12 years building this. Sacrificed everything to make it successful. Marriage means one bad decision from her, and I lose half of everything I built alone. That's not partnership, that's theft enabled by government. Never considered how marriage threatens entrepreneurship. His girlfriend doesn't understand his resistance. She says if I really loved her, I'd marry her. But if she really loved me, she wouldn't need legal claim to my assets. Love and legal contracts are separate things. She wants marriage for security. I see it as enslavement. They're at impasse that will likely end relationship. Fifth interview with 29-year-old teacher, witnessing peers marry. Watching friends' marriages deteriorate in real time. 3 of my college buddies married in past 5 years. All 3 are miserable. None will admit it publicly. They work constantly, come home to criticism and demands. Sex life gone. Can't make decisions without permission. They're slaves to their wives' happiness. He describes what he's observed. One friend wanted to buy a motorcycle with his own money. Wife said no, so he can't. Another wanted to take guy's trip. Wife guilt-tripped him into canceling. They ask permission for everything like children. That's not partnership, that's servitude. Marriage dynamics he's watching seem genuinely oppressive. Ask if this is just bad relationship choices. Maybe, but divorce would make it worse. Right now they're emotionally enslaved. Divorce would add financial enslavement to it. They're trapped with no good options. I'm choosing to never enter that trap. He's learned from friends' suffering. Sixth interview with 44-year-old divorced father of 3. Most devastating case so far of actual enslavement. Married 16 years. Wife decided she needed to find herself. Left him for younger man. Took kids, got the house. Now he's funding her self-discovery journey. I pay $5,200 monthly for kids I see 4 days a month. She doesn't work, lives off my payments. Bought new car with money I'm legally required to give her. Takes vacations with new boyfriend using my child support. I can't even afford vacation because I'm funding hers. The word slavery keeps coming up. What else would you call this arrangement? I'm legally required to work to fund someone else's lifestyle. Someone who chose to leave me. Someone who took my kids away. If I resist, government puts me in cage. That's literally definition of slavery. Historical comparison is uncomfortable but accurate. He shows me text messages from ex-wife. She's demanding he pay for kids' activities beyond support order. Dance classes, sports equipment, summer camps. When he says he can't afford it, she threatens to limit his visitation. She holds my kids hostage to extract more money. Uses children as leverage to enslave me further. System enables this extortion. Seventh interview with 35-year-old military veteran. Served 3 deployments overseas. Now more afraid of marriage than he was of combat. In war, enemy is clearly defined. In marriage, partner can become enemy with government backing. At least in combat, I had weapons and rules of engagement. His perspective from military service is chilling. Watched dozens of guys get divorced during deployment. Wives would empty bank accounts, file papers while we're overseas. Come home to nothing, kids gone, house sold. They served their country, got enslaved by family court. Marriage is more dangerous than Taliban. He explains military divorce culture. We warn new recruits, don't get married. If you do, don't have kids. If you do, get everything in writing. Even then, you'll probably lose everything. Military divorce rate is 80% plus for enlisted. Government that sends men to war won't protect them at home. Eighth interview with 42-year-old attorney specializing in family law. Expected him to defend the system. Instead, he explains why he'll never marry. I see the outcomes daily in my practice. Good men destroyed by ex-wives and biased courts. Fathers who did everything right losing custody. Husbands who were faithful still paying alimony to cheaters. He shows me his case files. This man was primary caregiver, still lost custody. This man caught wife cheating, still pays her alimony. This man has PhD and stable career, gets supervised visitation. System assumes maternal custody is best. System assumes men should pay regardless of circumstances. Legal professional who understands marriage law avoiding marriage. Ask him about prenuptial agreements. Judges throw them out regularly. Call them unconscionable or signed under duress. Even airtight prenups don't protect men. I've written hundreds that failed in court. Marriage is legal trap with no escape. The one protection men think they have is illusory. Ninth interview with 39-year-old scientist making $140,000. Girlfriend of 5 years wants marriage, he refuses. She thinks he's commitment phobic. He shows me his analysis of marriage economics. I've modeled various scenarios using probability theory. Expected financial loss from marriage is $847,000 over lifetime. That's accounting for divorce probability, custody outcomes, alimony duration. His scientific approach to marriage risk. 70% divorce rate. 85% custody to mothers. Average alimony 7 years. Expected value calculation shows massive loss for average man. Only marriages with positive expected value. Woman earns more. But high-earning women rarely marry down. Mathematically, marriage is terrible investment for men. Can't argue with his statistical analysis. He continues, marriage is optional enslavement. I'm volunteering to become financial slave. To someone who can leave anytime for any reason. And take half my stuff plus ongoing payments. What rational person would choose that? His girlfriend calls him unromantic. He calls himself rational. 10th interview with 51-year-old who's been married and divorced twice. Lost everything both times, now permanently single. First marriage I thought was bad luck. Second marriage I thought I learned from mistakes. Same outcome both times, financial devastation. It's not the women, it's the institution. Marriage legally enslaves men to female choices. His 2 divorce experiences are nearly identical. Both wives sweet and loving while dating. Both changed after wedding. Both initiated divorce, citing unhappiness. Both got majority custody despite me being involved father. Both get my money monthly while I struggle. System enables pattern of female exploitation. He describes his current financial situation. I'm 51 and starting over from zero again. Lost house twice, retirement savings twice. Work will die at my desk to meet obligations. Will never retire, never have security. This is slavery that will only end with my death. Marriage has literally enslaved him for life. Start researching the word slavery and its legal definition. Forced labor, lack of autonomy, inability to leave. Men in these situations check multiple boxes. Forced to work to pay ex-wives. No autonomy over finances or life choices. Can't leave obligation without imprisonment. Maybe they're not being dramatic about slavery comparison. 11th interview with 33-year-old engineer in relationship. Girlfriend issued ultimatum, marriage or breakup. He's choosing breakup despite loving her. I love her, but I won't enslave myself. Marriage would make me permanent servant to her happiness. If she's unhappy, I pay. If she cheats, I pay. If she changes her mind, I pay. Why would I volunteer for that? She thinks he doesn't love her enough. But I'm refusing to risk enslavement, not refusing to love her. Love shouldn't require legal servitude. If love isn't enough without marriage, it's not really love. It's transactional, and transaction favors her entirely. His refusal to marry is breaking them up. He shows me his father's divorce experience. Dad lost everything to mom after 25 years. She left him for yoga instructor. Now dad works at 68 because he can't afford to retire. Still paying her alimony from his social security. I watched marriage enslave my father for life. No woman is worth risking that. 12th interview with divorced man, extreme enslavement case. Ex-wife hasn't worked in 15 years since divorce. Lives entirely off his alimony payments. He's 58, works full-time. She's 56, fully capable, but doesn't work. I'm her permanent source of income. She has no incentive to work. I pay all her bills. This arrangement continues until I die. He shows me the math. I pay her $3,800 monthly alimony. She gets my social security too when I retire. I'm literally her retirement plan. She destroyed our marriage. I fund her comfort. If this isn't slavery, what is? She holds legal claim to his labor indefinitely. Ask what happens if he loses his job. Obligation doesn't decrease based on my actual income. It's based on imputed income of what I could earn. If I get sick, too bad. If economy crashes, too bad. I'm legally enslaved to maintain her lifestyle. System has no mercy for changed circumstances. 13th interview with 30-year-old watching marriage rates collapse. His entire friend group is permanently single by choice. We've all seen too many horror stories. Marriage is slavery that men are finally waking up to. Previous generations accepted it because it was expected. Our generation is questioning why we should volunteer for enslavement. He explains generational shift. Our fathers were slaves to marriage, but didn't call it that. Worked themselves to death to maintain families. Many were miserable, but divorce wasn't acceptable. Now divorce is common and outcomes for men are terrible. So we're just opting out entirely. Generational rejection of marriage as institution. His friend group shares information. We share divorce horror stories like survival tips. Document every case of man losing everything. We're building database of why marriage is trap. Every married guy we know is warning us not to do it. Even happily married men say they wouldn't do it again. Collective male wisdom says avoid marriage. 14th interview with 46-year-old paying multiple exes. Married and divorced twice, different women. Paying alimony and child support to both. Total monthly obligations, $7,200. After taxes, keeps $1,800 for himself. I work almost entirely for women who left me. His monthly breakdown is devastating. Ex-wife 1 gets $2,800 monthly. Ex-wife 2 gets $3,200 monthly. Child support for kids, I see 96 hours monthly combined. They have new boyfriends living in houses I pay for. I'm funding complete strangers' lifestyles. He's enslaved to support multiple households he's not part of. Asked why he married twice. Thought first divorce was my fault somehow. Worked on myself, went to therapy, tried again. Second marriage ended exactly the same way. It's not me, it's the system. Marriage legally enslaves men to female choices. Should have stayed single after first disaster. His health is failing from stress. I'm 46 and my doctor says I'm killing myself. High blood pressure, stress-induced heart problems. Working 70 hours weekly to meet obligations. Can't reduce hours, can't retire early. Enslaved until I literally die from it. Marriage is literally killing him through forced labor. 15th interview with 40-year-old business executive. Makes $320,000 annually. Owns multiple properties. Refuses to marry despite social pressure. Marriage would enslave me to someone else's financial decisions. She could decide to quit working. I'm still liable. She could rack up debt. I'm responsible. She could leave, take half my assets and get ongoing payments. He explains high earner perspective. The more successful I become, worse the risk. High income means high alimony calculations. Assets I built become community property. Everything I worked for becomes her leverage. Success makes me bigger target for exploitation. Achievement becomes liability in marriage context. His girlfriend is pressuring for marriage. She makes $60,000. I make $320,000. She sees marriage as upgrading her lifestyle. I see it as enslaving myself to fund her. If we break up, she walks away with nothing. If we marry then divorce, she walks away with millions. Why would I choose the second option? Start compiling all these interviews into coherent picture. Hundreds of hours of conversations with men. Consistent themes: slavery, forced labor, financial servitude. Legal system that enforces obligations with imprisonment. No-fault divorce that punishes men regardless of circumstances. This isn't male immaturity, it's rational self-preservation. Research historical context of slavery. Forced labor, no autonomy, inability to leave, government enforcement. Modern divorce system for men shares these characteristics. Forced to work to pay ex-wives. No control over finances or life decisions. Can't leave obligation without legal consequences. Government enforces system with jail for non-compliance. Most shocking realization. Men are right about enslavement comparison. Not being dramatic or exaggerating. Legal marriage structure genuinely enslaves men to female choices. Women can leave anytime for any reason. Men must keep paying regardless of circumstances. State enforces this arrangement with violence. Historical slavery ended. Modern marriage slavery continues. Confront my own biases about marriage. Always seen it as partnership, romantic commitment. Never considered the legal and economic structure. For women, marriage provides security and options. For men, marriage provides obligations and risks. No wonder marriage rates are plummeting among informed men. Research what marriage offers men legally. No parental rights that don't exist outside marriage. No financial protections, only liabilities. No guarantee of sexual intimacy or companionship. Legal obligation to support ex-wife potentially forever. Can lose custody of children despite being good father. All risk, no benefit from legal perspective. Compare with what marriage offers women legally. Financial security through alimony and support. Presumed custody of children in divorce. Half of marital assets regardless of contribution. Legal claim to husband's future earnings. Social security benefits from his employment. Risk, reward completely skewed in women's favor. Start questioning my feminist perspective on marriage. Celebrated no-fault divorce as liberating for women. Never considered it enslaves men to female choices. Promoted idea that women should leave unsatisfying marriages. Never thought about men funding ex-wives' self-discovery. My feminism has been supporting system of male servitude. Editor rejects my article when I submit honest findings. This makes it sound like men are victims. Can't publish piece that validates male complaints about marriage. Rewrite it to focus on male commitment issues. Frame their fears as immaturity and inability to handle equality. Truth about male enslavement in marriage is unpublishable. Decide to publish independently despite career risk. Can't unsee what I've learned about marriage system. Men are literally choosing death over enslavement. Suicide rates among divorced men are catastrophic. Marriage rates plummeting because men understand the trap. This is biggest story no one will let me tell. Title of my piece: The Enslavement Men Can't Escape. Document legal structure that enslaves men to female choices. Show economic realities of divorce for men. Prove that marriage is optional servitude for modern men. Explain why informed men are choosing permanent single life. Response to article is immediate and polarizing. Men sharing it widely, grateful someone understands. Women attacking me for validating male victimhood. Feminists calling me traitor to women's liberation. But I can't ignore what dozens of men showed me. Marriage legally enslaves men. Their right to avoid it. Final conclusion after months of research. Men aren't avoiding marriage due to immaturity. They're avoiding legal enslavement to female choices. No-fault divorce enables women to leave and take everything. Courts favor mothers regardless of father's quality. Financial obligations continue regardless of circumstances. State enforces servitude with imprisonment. Men choosing death over this enslavement. The men were right all along. Marriage is slavery for modern men. Forced labor, no autonomy, inability to escape. Government-enforced servitude to ex-wives. Smart men are opting out permanently. Rather die single than be enslaved by marriage. Their choice makes perfect rational sense.